Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President DC Entertainment, President Warner Brothers Consumer Products, Diane Nelson.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that not an amazing reel we just saw?
Yeah.
Are you ready to see some super cool stuff?
Yes. Always.
Okay, me too. So welcome to Warner Brothers and to the incredible DC universe. Take a look around, both inside and outside. When it comes to entertainment, this is the heart of innovation. This is Mecca, the Warner Brothers studio lot, a place deeply rooted in Hollywood history, with a century-long commitment to embracing technology, using it to put you into the action, to blow your mind, and to change the lens through which you experience the world. DC's been a part of the Warner Brothers family for decades. I took over the reins at DC about 8 years ago, and together with the most talented team in comics, we put an emphasis on exploring how technology, innovation, and frankly, a healthy dose of a no-fear attitude can enhance each and every story that we tell. You see, DC is home to the world's greatest superheroes, as you just saw, because we're home to the greatest storytellers. Superman, Batman, Flash, Cyborg, Green Lantern, Aquaman, and of course, Wonder Woman. Everyone has their favorite.
Wonder Woman.
You might think that Jason Momoa is coming in really close right now. How do I know that the Justice League, as well as our endless library of legendary characters, are indeed the world's greatest superheroes? The fans tell us so. DC ships more than 40 million comic books and graphic novels a year. There are 100 million DC video game players worldwide, enjoying such recent releases as Batman Arkham VR and Injustice 2. There are an unprecedented 13 television shows on multiple networks, and more to come. $3.5 billion in worldwide home entertainment sales to date. And most importantly, there are 1.5 billion people worldwide who've experienced a DC film in theaters. That represents nearly $10 billion at the box office, a number that will only grow as Justice League hits theaters this November. The Justice League isn't the only superhero team on the Warner Brothers lot. Today you're going to hear from the incredible real-life superheroes, executives, storytellers, and leaders from across Warner Brothers who are proving that with technology, innovation, and forward thinking, we'll be able to continue to deliver tremendous storytelling in limitless ways to fans around the globe for years to come. In addition, you're going to meet some of our biggest fans who also happen to be the hosts of the highly popular DC All Access web series. These superfans will share their own stories about why each of the Justice League members is so important to them and more relevant than ever before. So, since superheroes' stories are all about origins, let's go back to where it all began, to the start of the 80-year-old comic book business that brought us the very first superhero in Action Comics #1. Who is it?
Superman.
Superman has always seemed like the coolest superhero because of his flight, X-ray vision, and super strength. But his greatest power is actually his instinctive knowledge of right and wrong. Despite all of Superman's abilities, he never seeks glory or expects anything in return. His sense of responsibility is what defines heroism, not just facing down villains, but having a real moral compass. And his eternal faith in humanity inspires each of us to be the best we can be. Here to show us what's next for the Man of Steel and the Justice League in the exciting world of publishing is Jim Lee.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I trust that there are some DC comic book fans here. All right, that's really good to hear. So let's talk some Superman. As Diane mentioned, Superman was the first superhero ever created, but coincidentally, he was also the first superhero I ever encountered back in 1969. I was a kid growing up in South Korea, and I remember watching these incredible Max Fleischer-directed Superman cartoons, and those cartoons had a very, very profound impact on myself. And so here I am today, working at DC, and it's really, really cool that even though I really embrace Superman for his ideals, he stands for truth and justice, at the end of the day, I really identify with Superman more because we're both immigrants, right? We're immigrants from strange far-off lands. He just traveled a little further than I did. At the end of the day, we both grew up and came of age in the Midwest of America. So it's very, very cool that I can actually say that I grew up with Superman and that I get to work alongside Superman at the DC offices today. So at DC, I actually wear 2 hats. All right. First, as publisher, I work alongside with fellow publisher Dan DiDio, and we both kind of oversee and run the print and digital businesses for DC. But I also moonlight as a comic book artist. I don't know if you guys have seen some of my work, maybe. It's all right, you're all right, it's okay, be truthful. And at the end of the day, what I love is kind of studying how technology transforms our business, but I also really am very curious as to how it changes the nature of creating content and how we can kind of creatively use our characters to form new forms of storytelling. Back in 2011, DC Comics was actually the first publisher to go same-day digital across our entire superhero line. And that was a real game changer for us because it basically meant that we have the capability now of reaching out and finding new fans in ways that we couldn't really before. And it also allowed us to reconnect with old fans, lapsed fans, casual fans, and it really kind of transformed our business. And on top of that, digital formats also allowed us to really produce much more interactive digital comic books, which we call motion books. And we actually have a demo created by a company called Madefire, which is one of our premier digital partners, and it basically showcases some of the cool features of these motion books. All right, so we basically have Superman facing up against Darkseid. And what's really great about this format is that even though there are obviously bits of animation sprinkled throughout, it's still a reading experience. And by that, I mean that the reader has to tap the screen to kind of advance the action forward. So it activates the word balloons, it changes the scenes, it advances the page count, and at the end of the day, it's still at its core a reading experience. But what we also really love about motion books is that it allows us to really leverage and monetize pre-existing assets. In other words, we have about 80 years worth of publishing history, over 1 million pages of art at our disposal, and we're able to really repurpose and recompose and realign these pieces of art on different layers, and allows us to produce these really kind of very elegant, interactive motion books. As you can see, there's some really cool parallaxing effects, and we're also able to take like really large pieces of art, if you can imagine the Fortress of Solitude, and we can actually sort of wallpaper that on the inside of a large virtual cube in which the reader sits and kind of can explore by just sort of looking left and right. Now you can imagine how immersive and impactful that would be if you actually had VR goggles on, right? And it is really, really amazing. And that's why we at DC are really curious about what we can do with this technology. How can we use programs like virtual sculpting, virtual drawing, and virtual storytelling to really kind of invent new ways of telling stories? And this is where the artist in me gets super, super excited. But rather than kind of drone on more and more about it, I'm going to actually show you a very cool demo that we created. I'm using a program called Google Tilt Brush. And it's the first time I used it, and it was just a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy it.
For this demo, I decided to draw Superman flying up on a gigantic head of Darkseid as they face down over the nightmarish world of Apocalypse. Trust me, we'll get there. As you can see, drawing with Google Tilt Brush is really a paradox. It's like drawing and sculpting at the same time, as you have to mentally compose the shot in 3D as you create a 2D line with your arm. It's akin to painting, meaning your whole body gets into the action. It's quite a workout, but different because the paint can't mix and is completely opaque for the most part. I find you get the best results applying the lines loosely and with energy, putting in your medium value colors first, then adding shadows with color on top of that layer, and then your highlights on the very top, almost like a 3-tier cake. Constructing 2D elements in an infinite number of layers is what creates the sculpting feel. And once you layer enough, you get something like this. In many ways, it's like placing cut shapes of colored construction paper and suspending them in air to create a floating mosaic. You could even take what you've drawn and thrust it into outer space. The coolest thing about creating in Google Tilt Brush is how engaged you are as an artist with what you create. It's like installation art, but more so in that it's something that can be experienced not just at different angles, but at different scales and in different lighting schemes and environments. You can literally walk through your art, and it has a three-dimensionality and life to it that a canvas simply cannot convey. Each vantage point gives viewers a different version of the same image. Seeing it displayed on a 2D screen can't quite articulate how amazing and otherworldly it feels wearing VR gear and inhabiting the space created by an artist's imagination. There are some amazing built-in tools which allow you to create glowing lines, electrical effects, and even smoke. What's really cool about these tools is that you can use them to help blend the colors and create an environmental effect. Here you see me painting in Darkseid's dreaded Omega beams and having them zigzag to take out our intrepid hero, Superman. Luckily for him, we pull back to reveal that this is all one big horrible nightmare Clark Kent is having, and that everything is A-OK.
Wow.
So if you guys like that, I would say that 90% of it is because of the music, right? Steve, no matter what you're doing, whether you're brushing your teeth or whatever, just play that music and it will seem majestic and awesome. So I want to thank the production team and the people at Machinima for putting that clip together. That really made this look much cooler than it is. So anyway, so beyond the fun of doing stuff like that, we're really exploring other ways of using programs like Tilt Brush to create virtual stories. And so for example, you can imagine getting a lot of these assets to you guys and allowing you guys to kind of play around with the superheroes and supervillains and environments and special effects and word balloons and really kind of construct your own scenes and tell little mini stories which you can share with your friends. Or similarly, we can create virtual kind of puppet shows where assets kind of drop in and out in front of you, and as you gesture, things kind of move through or disappear. And you basically kind of experience the story as a reader, but in 3D space. So as you think about all this stuff, you realize the possibilities are really kind of endless. And as both a publisher and as an artist, it's super, super exciting to see how this technology is impacting and reshaping what comics could be and what the future of storytelling may evolve to become. Thank you very much.
One thing you gotta know about Aquaman is that he was born into royalty. He is the king of Atlantis. He didn't have to become a hero. He didn't have to become anything. He could have rested on his laurels, but instead, he took up the mantle and uses his abilities to protect the oceans and land and those who inhabit both. He's got a lot more power and responsibility than we give him credit for. Here to talk about how our filmmakers are leveraging the latest advancements in technology to tell stories we never could tell on film before is Annie Colby.
Before we get started, let's watch a quick video that highlights how movies, superheroes, and technology play well together.
I believe that an enemy is coming. I'm looking for warriors. I'm building an alliance to defend us.
They said the age of heroes would never come again. Shall we? People love the idea of watching these comic books come to life, and with the technology we have today, it's amazing what we can do.
Visual effects have become so much a part of the movie-making process.
In all the movies, you want to breathe life into the characters, and that's fun.
The quality has increased to a point that it's virtually seamless.
You want to take it to that next level. You want to bring some really cool effects that are more powerful than anything we've ever seen.
With Aquaman, we're designing a world that we've never seen before, that is so original. This is the kind of movie that could not have been made even 5 years ago.
With Wonder Woman, we're making visual effects look so incredibly real and disappear into the fabric of a very real feeling film.
You will soon find out.
Arthur Curry. I hear you can talk to fish.
I head up the visual effects team here at Warner Brothers, and we're always walking the fine line between having technology enhance the stories being told on screen versus technology becoming the story. Of course, for the tech journalists in the room, hopefully what we do on the screen inspires lots of fantastic stories. The good news is that we're working with some of the world's best IP, including our incredible pool of DC superheroes. Long before TV and films, comic book fans knew Superman could fly, but it was technology that allowed us to show them how he flies. It's technology that has made filmmaking, our form of storytelling, possible. And Warner Brothers has always been at the forefront of that collaborative effort. Today's technology makes it possible to tell stories in a way we never conceived of even a few years ago. So, how do we do it? How can we show water on fire? How do we support a story that features astronauts in space? Can we make a man stop a wall of water? Can we convince an audience that a digital human is real? And most importantly, how do we sustain that believability? Well, this can't really be pinned to just one thing. We're talking computing performance, the standardization of tools, and the automation of processes. It is also the skills, collaboration, and advanced experience of thousands of visual effects artists and engineers worldwide, all united to bring our visuals to the movie-going audience. The true goal of visual effects is to support the story, the world our characters live in, and the world we want to immerse the audience in. So, a few thoughts about creating this immersion, the world building of the DC universe. Gotham City, Metropolis, Krypton, Themyscira, places that exist for a couple of hours at the very least, thanks to the inventive work of our directors, their designers, and the visual effects teams. Utilizing such processes as digital set extensions and map paintings, we can enhance or create environments that are simply non-existent or impossible to capture in a way our directors and DPs visualize. Does the scene call for lava? Pyroclastic clouds? We can do that. Complex fluid simulations that were extremely difficult 10 years ago are now common requirements. It's time and progress, and millions of lines of code, and billions of polygons created, and millions of frames rendered. In Justice League, you will have no doubt that the Flash is the fastest man alive, and that Cyborg is truly the superhero of our digital age. Incredible work is going into making these heroes super as they stand beside Batman and Wonder Woman. And finally, Aquaman. Right now, James Wan, one of the industry's most visually innovative directors, is creating Atlantis so spectacular you will believe that an entire world exists beneath the sea. The film features amazing design and is an incredible visual challenge that we are all excited to bring to the screen. In all of our DC films, it is the marriage of story and technology that creates the movie magic, which enables us to deliver a unique experience and touch an audience unlike ever before. Now, here's a great example of that magic. Check out the trailer for Justice League, opening worldwide November 17th. Thank you.
We have to be ready. You, me, the others.
others, where are they?
Arthur Curry, the Aquaman. It's on him.
Organic and biomechatronic body parts. He's a cyborg.
You should probably move. Mary Ellen.
Whoever you're looking for, it's not me. You're the Batman?
He said the age of heroes would never come again.
Has to.
What are your superpowers again?
I'm rich. My turn.
Come together.
Shall we?
It's good to see you playing well with others again. Just like a bat. I dig it.
Maybe temporary.
No one embodies the integration of technology and storytelling better than Cyborg. Part man, part machine, his story is not an easy one, but he proves that resilience is a true superpower. Cyborg also represents the best of innovation. He's a superhero powered by human technology. He can upgrade himself as technology progresses, the same way his story is reinvented for new audiences again and again. And now, to give us a preview of the future of home entertainment is Ron Sanders.
Our home entertainment business is a lot like Cyborg. We constantly have to evolve, we have to adapt, we have to improve. And it's exciting today to talk to you about three big innovations that we're coming with this year in home entertainment. First is 4K Ultra HD with HDR. Next is our new enhanced digital movie experience, which I'll talk about. And last, the all-new world of cinematic VR, virtual reality. These new technologies allow you to more deeply experience and feel the stories that we tell in all of our films and television shows, even becoming part of the story yourself. Let's talk about 4K Ultra HD. Of course, there's 4 times the detail that you have with high definition, but even more importantly, the lines of resolution that allow us to maximize a new technology that we're excited about is high dynamic range, or HDR. It's a huge leap forward in both quality and detail. It's kind of like when we moved from VHS to DVD. It's a big leap forward, and this new technology will allow us such a fidelity and quality of color, of brightness, of clarity, that it's simply beyond anything that you've been able to see before on a television at home. There's contrast and brightness and detail that comes close to everything that you can perceive with the human eye. This new experience, the feeling, frankly, is immersive, and we're excited to show it to you. In addition to witnessing a movie like never before, now you can also go deeper behind the scenes and have more fun with the viewing experience with our enhanced digital movies. All the extras that you found on Blu-ray will be available on our digital movies, but beyond that, we're going to include up-to-the-minute biographies and filmographies of the stars and filmmakers while you watch the movie. You can see the exact location where a scene was shot. You can shop for items that you see in a film while you're watching that film. You can share clips with friends, you can chat while you watch, you can even create mashups. You enjoy all of these fun facts while you watch the movie, and that's just the beginning. We're going to include also a 360 behind-the-scenes video where you can watch the interaction of a director and an actor as they shoot the scene. You're not just looking behind the scenes, you're actually on the set of Aquaman with James Wan. So you can witness the movie more intensely with 4K, you can go deeper into the making of it with enhanced digital movie, and finally, You can actually become part of the story with virtual reality. My guess is most of you have kind of experienced VR by now. The home entertainment twist on it is really exciting. We're going to create what we call cinematic VR. You will literally be able to go see Justice League in theaters this November, and that same day re-enter the world of the movie as one of the superheroes. Most VR is strictly game-based. The home entertainment component will have a narrative aspect. We will be extending the world of the movie, as well as including interactive elements that give you a role to play and how things turn out, including multiple levels and challenges. We're going to make VR using the assets of the film itself. We'll use the actual CG models, we'll use the set photography. We will make an exact replica of the world that you saw in theaters. It frankly doesn't get any more real than that. Our transactional VR experiences are going to be available on all platforms, from cardboard to the high-end headsets to location-based cinematic VR, including the IMAX Experience Centers. And I'm excited to tell you about it. I'm also excited that you'll be able to experience all of this year. What I can show you now, though, is a pretty early state of development, but I hope you get the idea. Here's a quick reel to kind of give you a taste of what's coming your way this year from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. Thank you.
The DC Universe is shaping the future of home entertainment.
Shall we?
See in new ways. Explore new worlds. Find your power.
Initiate.
Witness the incredible as the world's greatest heroes step into the shadows, the light, the detail of 4K Ultra HD.
It's magical.
HDR, high dynamic range, gives you more contrast, brilliant brights, and the deepest darks. It's colors you've never seen on TV. The DC Universe steps into amazing with 4K Ultra HD.
Is there anything else you want to show me?
The way you watch movies just got superpowered.
Hot diggity dog.
Watch the Lego Batman movie on your tablet or smartphone. Rotate to learn more about the heroes, the vehicles,
Look, it's the bathtub.
and fun facts about Lego Batman.
Why did you build this with only one seat?
Because last I checked, I only had one butt.
Take your experience to the next level. Share clips with friends.
Nice.
And leap into all the extras.
Check this out.
Loading VR experience.
Become a part of your favorite movies by becoming a DC hero.
Get ready, bro. Or girl, bro.
Dive into the Lego Batman VR experience.
That's right.
Take off in the Batmobile and save Gotham.
I love it.
Live the cinematic world of the Justice League VR experience, where you take on the powers of the Justice League. Outrun and destroy drones as you drive the Batmobile. Wield Wonder Woman's sword and shield. Immerse yourself. Be part of the ultimate fight for justice.
When I was little, my dad and I used to watch the Flash TV show together. Back then, I only saw the Flash for his powers. He was fast, he was a speed reader, he could travel through time. But as I get older, I'm even more inspired by the responsibility that the Flash embodies. It's not just about fighting bad guys. It's about using your super speed to rebuild communities after an epic supervillain battle. That superhero sense of compassion is what makes the Flash the heart of the Justice League. And here to show you what's next for this timeless, time-traveling hero and the other characters across DC television and animation is Jeff Johns.
Like Hector, I watched the show when I was a kid too, with John Wesley Shipp, and back then all Flash could do was run fast. He'd blur back and forth across the street and hit bad guys. But I was still starving for a Flash show. It was great. Today, things are different. If you know Flash, you know he does a lot more than run fast. He travels through time, he visits other dimensions, he goes to parallel worlds, and next to Batman, I and a lot of people would say he has got the greatest collection of villains in comics. You've got the Rogues, see what someone says there? You've got the Rogues, you've got Reverse Flash, the time traveler, and you have Grodd, who is this super intelligent ape that comes from, some people know Grodd, that comes from a city, a hidden city in Africa of these other primates, and Flash used to go there and do battle. And you know, in 1990, you never imagined that anything like that would ever be on the screen, let alone TV. But today, with technology and visual effects and people who grew up loving these characters and their stories, they've all come together to use their passion and talent and tech to put it on the big screen. Like Diane said, DC has over a dozen shows out there on various networks, thanks to Peter Roth and Warner Brothers Television. And each one of those shows has to be different emotionally and thematically, but also visually, because comic books are a spectacle. And so we have these teams that have been able to put these shows on the screen and bring the lore, as it is in the comics, true to the comics, to everybody. So let's take a look at DC TV and how we do it and why we do it.
We live in a time where everybody wants to believe that there are heroes out there.
I grew up reading comics. They've been so close to my heart. It's strange to be a part of this golden age of superheroes.
The DC Universe has an incredible legacy around the world, and you feel that burden when you're making a show that has to fit into that canon.
I think it's about time we seized our destiny.
Because of this relationship Warner Brothers has with DC, we can take things from the comics, we can create new storylines. There's endless possibilities.
Best team up ever!
Grodd's a fan favorite. He's certainly a fan favorite from the comic books. When we started doing a Flash TV show, the people who do our visual effects did an animatic of Barry facing a gorilla in a gladiator ring.
That is a big gorilla.
We had to build a detailed version of Gorilla City with the structures. We had to come up with what does it look like with gorillas, you know, that are ready for war.
Even we can't believe what we were able to pull off.
He did it. He bloody well did it.
They've created this amazing world for the DC Universe. And we're making it even more accessible and putting it on television with all the awesome heroes and villains that we can give life to on screen.
The great thing about Gotham is there really is not a lot known about the early history of the great villains. So there's a lot of open territory there to tell great new stories that people hadn't known before.
I think that these characters explore different aspects of humanity.
The success of DC Comics is really predicated on a humanity in their characters. They're people with real problems who choose to take extraordinary action to solve those problems.
It's all about story, it's all about character, it's all about emotion, and it's all about appealing to audiences, but really thinking of the audience the entire way through the process. And we really want to deliver something very special to them.
Your name is L. Fight the fortress.
I'm David S. Goyer. I'm the executive producer of Krypton. We're in the set for the Fortress of Solitude. This is a creature called a Black Mercy. Got a Kansas license plate. This is meant to be the skull of Doomsday. The reason why these things exist is we want to indicate to the superfans that we may be going to these places later on in the series.
All right, let's do this. On your marks.
Get set.
Go.
Hopefully we deliver on the spirit of the books and those great stories you grew up loving. It's that commitment to excellence and quality that really will stand the test of time.
you know who that is. We also do, we work with Sam Register and Warner Brothers Animation on all the DC projects and do great kids animation. Technology has changed how animation is made, but it's also changed how it's viewed. And so the format changes. So we have Teen Titans Go, which is the #1 show on Cartoon Network, 11-minute episodes. And we also have DC Superhero Girls and digital shorts based on those characters, which is a collection of the most powerful female and superheroes and supervillains for a younger audience. So let's take a look at what animation does.
I cannot believe we are actually going to audition for the spot on the Justice League!
So many A-list heroes! Wonder Woman.
Ain't we already on a team?
Yeah, but we want to be on, a good team. So for my talent, I'll be doing a motorcycle trick!
Fun stuff. For the last little clip I'm going to show you, with technology and reaching an audience, we reach every audience, and there's a segment of the audience that's a little older that wants animation a little edgier, maybe a little more violent, maybe sometimes R-rated. This is a highlight from those reels of a little, more violent material.
Even though you've been raised as a human being, you are not one of them.
And even if it takes the rest of your life, you owe it to yourself to find out what that reason is. It should be you saving the world. Unprecedented danger. Worlds annihilated. I wanted to save Gotham. I failed. Why do we fall? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up. I promise you, I will find the man who did this. Wait till they get a load of me.
Meow.
And its global reach, but also because it helps us build our most valuable franchises like DC, bringing the world and the characters to life in a way unlike any other form of content. Let's take a look at some of our DC games in our portfolio.
My dear delusional Dark Knight. Calling all Justice League members. Our time has come. Tonight, Gotham falls. Earth's
defense is irreversibly compromised. Begin the countdown.
WB Games and DC.
Titans, go!
Leading the way in interactive storytelling. From your living room and on the go. Every day, millions of fans of all ages immerse themselves in the DC universe. Forging ahead, beyond your console, beyond your phone, beyond your imagination.
It's easy to see with a portfolio like that how we have millions of daily active players in our DC games. We believe that there's never been a better time to make games. There's over 2 billion gamers around the world on consoles, PC, and mobile. And these platforms are all providing our game developers and designers more tools than ever to create the greatest content. More processing power, integrated VR, augmented reality with location-based, 4K rendering at 60 frames a second, and connected services like esports to innovate the gaming experience. We strive to make our games part of the daily habit of our fans. We try to offer them something new to do every day. It might be a tournament, a daily reward, new content to access, and missions to do with your friends. That's why we think about our games today as live services. They're designed to keep our players deeply engaged, deeply immersed. This is why we know that games and interactive extends the fan experience like no other form of content. And a key competitive advantage of our success in gaming is our own studios that create our games. Warner Brothers has 10 studios around the world, more than 2,000 people that help build our games. They engineer them, animate them, create the worlds, integrate sound. And we're going to hear from 2 of our most talented game designers talking about how they create games in the DC universe. Sefton Hill from our London Rocksteady studio. He's going to provide us insight on how he took the Batman Arkham VR world and gaming franchise and how he brought it to life in VR. And Ed Boon from our NetherRealm studio will talk about the production of our recently released Injustice 2 console and mobile games. Let's take a look.
Telling stories in an interactive medium is more exciting in the sense because the player gets to get their hands dirty and really feel they're part of the adventure. They get to see and feel and go along this journey and make key decisions in that journey. Virtual reality is very different from traditional gaming in that it's more about letting the player sort of stand in this environment and sort of pull the story towards them. We give them the opportunity to reach out and feel that story in front of them. Developing for virtual reality for us was really exciting because the psychological angle with the characters is a big part of who they are. Allowing the player not just to control them, but to really step inside their head and experience firsthand what they're seeing was a way to bring them to life in a way that we've never brought them to life before. One of the great things about VR is that it's very quick for your brain to just believe what you see. You know, our artists and designers created a world that was so convincing that your brain just believes it when it sees it. Be the Batman is quintessential to everything we do as a company because we want the player to don the cowl, become the Dark Knight, step into this world. One of the things I love about this universe is the fact that it's not about actions, it's about emotions and characters. You don't feel like you're role-playing a Batman experience. You feel like you are Batman.
Our job is to tell an engaging story with the technology and tools that we have available to us. And the more convincing our presentation of emotion is, the more our audiences will become invested in the story we're telling. We are at war with these animals. Probably the best way to see how technology has evolved in our stories is to look at the progression of our stories for the last 5 or so games. Obviously, better technology gives us the opportunity for more sophisticated presentation, which means more realistic, more immersive stories.
Hope isn't enough to save the world.
Each game makes significant leaps forward in presentation and the overall experience. The magic that comes from our facial tech is how it gives our characters the ability to express human emotion, which is so important for great storytelling. This technology lets us create big, elaborate sets with atmospheric effects to nuanced, like super detailed facial animations that allow us to express emotions like we haven't been able to in the past. One example is a scene with Supergirl and Batman where you could just read the emotional distress on her face as she's reacting to a tragedy that's just happened. Games are evolving from one experience that you can consume and move on to a living, breathing, and constantly changing experience that offers something new every day for the players.
We both knew it would end this way.
So you can see with creators like Ed and Sefton and the tools that they now have and the power of the DC IP, you can see why the future is very bright for our games. Some would say superpowered. Thank you very much.
My favorite part of Wonder Woman's costume is the cuffs. They help her do anything. Watching her is inspiring girls all over the world to feel the same way and to believe that the future is female. Which is perfect because now we want to welcome back our fearless leader who you met earlier in the program, Diane Nelson. She's going to wrap up with the big picture for DC and the world of wonder ahead. Take it away, Diane.
I want to ask y'all to help me with one thing. Can you show me your form? All of you? Good. Whoever's taking pictures, you may want to do this. I would encourage you to do this each morning in front of the mirror because we all have to deflect things every day, right? In our own various ways. From the pages of comic books to the depths of Aquaman's 7 Kingdoms, as you can see, storytelling is at the heart of everything we do at Warner Brothers and DC. The rapid evolution of technology continues to allow the Justice League and our entire pantheon of superheroes new ways to fly higher, run faster, dive deeper, be stronger, and fight harder across all platforms. Concepts that were once relegated to the printed page are now brought to life because of advances in technology and innovation. The future of storytelling is limitless. As Batman once said, it's what you do that defines you. And what we plan to do at DC is to continue to deliver to our fans epic adventures in immersive worlds with truly inspirational heroes. I want to thank all my colleagues today, and in particular, I'd like to highlight Kevin Tsujihara, our chairman and CEO, without whose support DC would not be what you've just seen today. From today and so many executives who are part of making all of this happen. Thank you again for sharing today the innovation, the technology that's helping storytellers reach new depths of creativity and entertainment that were frankly unimaginable only a few years ago. And thanks to all of you for sharing part of your day with us. We really appreciate it. Hope it was inspirational and enjoy the rest of the AT&T Shape Expo.